Long ago, in the heart of a lush and enchanted forest, there stood a kingdom known as Eldralume. It was a place where sunlight danced through emerald leaves, rivers sang sweet melodies, and every creature lived in harmony. At its center lay the majestic Crystal Palace, home to Queen Seraphina, wise ruler whose crown shimmered like starlight. But one fateful night, disaster struck. A dark shadow swept over the land, stealing the queen's radiant crown and plunging the kingdom into silence. Without the crown, which held ancient magic that kept peace among all beings, chaos began to spread. Birds stopped singing, flowers wilted, and even the once bubbling streams ran dry. Despair settled over Eldralume like heavy fog. Queen Seraphina summoned her bravest knights, but none could find the thief or the stolen treasure. Hope seemed lost until whispers began to rise from an old willow tree at the edge of the forest. Far away from the palace, on the outskirts of the village, lived a curious girl named Lyra. She had wild curls the color of autumn leaves and eyes as bright as morning dew. Unlike others, Lyra had always felt drawn to the forest, often wandering beneath its canopy for hours. Her favorite spot was the ancient willow tree near the riverbank, whose long branches swayed gently even when there was no breeze. One evening, as Lyra rested against the willow's trunk, she heard something strange, a faint whisper, barely audible. "Lyra, child of the woods." Startled, she looked around, but the forest was empty. "Who's there?" she asked hesitantly. "The crown. The crown is lost," the voice continued, softer this time. "Only you can find it." Lyra gasped. "Me? But I'm just a girl." "You are more than you know," the willow replied. Its voice grew stronger now, filled with urgency. "The crown holds the balance of our world. If it remains lost, darkness will consume us all. Take this token, it will guide you." A small glowing acorn appeared in Lyra's hand. It pulsed with warmth, as if alive. Though frightened, Lyra nodded. She couldn't explain why, but she felt deep down that she had to try. With the glowing acorn tucked safely in her pocket, Lyra set off into the heart of the forest. Her journey would take her far beyond the familiar paths she knew so well. As she ventured deeper, the trees grew taller and darker, their gnarled roots twisting like sleeping serpents. Her first challenge came quickly. A mischievous fox blocked her path, its fur glinting silver under the moonlight. "Why do you trespass here, little one?" it growled, baring sharp teeth. "I seek the lost crown," Lyra said boldly, clutching the acorn tighter. "Will you help me?" The fox tilted its head, intrigued. "Prove your worth," it said, leaping aside to reveal a rickety bridge spanning a chasm. Below, jagged rocks jutted out of swirling mist. Though her knees trembled, Lyra stepped onto the bridge. Each plank creaked ominously, threatening to snap beneath her weight. Halfway across, the fox called out, "What drives you forward, child? Fear or courage?" "Courage," Lyra answered without hesitation, and as she spoke, the bridge steadied, carrying her safely to the other side. The fox grinned. "You may pass, but beware, the trials ahead are greater still." After days of travel, Lyra arrived at the Shadow Glade, a mysterious clearing cloaked in perpetual twilight. Here, the air was thick with magic, and shadows danced eerily between the trees. In the center stood a towering figure clad in black armor, the guardian of shadows. "Turn back, mortal," the guardian rumbled, its voice echoing like thunder. "None who enter here leave unscathed." "I won't turn back," Lyra said firmly, holding up the glowing acorn. "I must find the crown to save my kingdom." The guardian studied her for a moment before raising its massive sword. "Then prove yourself worthy." From the ground, vines shot up, wrapping around Lyra's legs. Panic surged within her, but she remembered the fox's question. Fear or courage? Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes and focused on the warmth of the acorn. Slowly, light spilled from her hands, dispelling the vines and forcing the guardian to step back. "You carry the light within you," the guardian admitted grudgingly. "Go forth, but remember, not all foes are fought with blades." At last, Lyra reached the Cavern of Echoes, a vast underground chamber illuminated by crystals that shimmered like stars. There, atop a pedestal of jagged rock, sat the stolen crown. But guarding it was none other than a dragona, sleek, obsidian-scaled beast with eyes like molten gold. "Who dares disturb my lair?" the dragon hissed, smoke curling from its nostrils. "It wasn't yours to take," Lyra shouted, surprising herself with her own bravery. "That crown belongs to Eldralume. Return it or face the consequences." The dragon chuckled, a low rumble that shook the cavern walls. Consequences? From a mere child? But as Lyra stepped closer, the acorn in her hand began to glow brighter than ever before. Images flashed in her mind, memories of the dragon's past. She saw how the creature had once been a guardian of the crown itself, betrayed by humans who sought its power. Overcome with grief, it had turned to darkness. "You're not evil," Lyra whispered. "You're hurt. Let me help you." For a moment, the dragon hesitated. Then, with a sigh that sounded almost human, it lowered its head. "Take the crown, child. Perhaps your light can heal what mine could not." When Lyra returned to the Crystal Palace, the entire kingdom gathered to witness her triumph. Queen Seraphina placed the crown upon her head, and instantly, life bloomed anew. Flowers erupted in vibrant colors, birds burst into song, and laughter echoed through the streets. Lyra became a hero, beloved by all. Yet she remained humble, knowing that true strength came not from power but from compassion and courage. As for the dragon, it chose to stay in the forest, watching over the land it once protected. Occasionally, Lyra would visit, sitting beneath the Whispering Willow and sharing stories of hope and renewal. And so, the tale of the Whispering Willow and the lost crown became a legenda, reminder that even in the darkest times, a single spark of light can change the world.